Brother Joshua. Welcome to Unitarian Anabaptist.
Thank you, Bro Tom. I'm glad being here.
Yes. So you've shared quite a bit of your experience. We've been talking for a long time. Is there something that you would like to expose about your unique faith perspective to those that are listening?
Yes, I feel right now that God will want me to emphasize certain things.
Okay.
These things He wants me to emphasize are against the core beliefs of the traditional church.
Okay.
And these things I know are things that are supposed to cause trouble for anybody. One of the things God wants me to be emphasizing in my own little way, I don't know where it's going to lead to, is the truth that Jesus is a man and not God that became a man. But a man, number one, ordained by God, number two, approved by God, and number three, exalted by God.
Exalted by God. Yes.
So, not God that became a man, but a man exalted by God.
Exalted by God.
Yes.
So in a sense, when you think of the exaltation of Jesus, of the man Jesus, whom God raised from the dead and exalted to God's right hand in heaven, do you think of a man who became a lot like God?
Mm-hmm.
So how would you describe how a man became likened to God? Like, what is the proper terminology or expression of this?
Yes, Jesus is the image of God.
The image of God.
Right now, because he has become immortal, now, just like God, he is called the express image of the invisible God.
Okay. Of the invisible God.
Yes.
So that means something along the line that the glory of the invisible God is now emanating from this exalted man, Jesus?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So that's my emphasis now.
Okay.
And this has taken me a long time. That, you understand what I mean? It's been a journey.
So do you consider this a very, very bold statement that you are making?
Very bold statement. Like, if I was not sure, I wouldn't be saying that. And I know the consequences. Do you understand?
Yes.
Like, the people I worked with, like the bishop that spoke with me now, if he hears me saying that, they might as well say that I've run mad.
You've gone mad. You've lost your mind.
Yes.
Okay.
You understand? But I know what I'm saying.
Yes, I do. I believe you do.
Yes.
Yes. I believe you're saying it for very good reason
Yes.
also.
I can defend it apologetically and harmonically.
And her, okay.
You understand? That is, I can defend it based on biblical exegesis and also based on logic and reasoning.
Yes.
You understand?
Okay.
Yes.
So in your biblical exegesis of identifying Jesus as the exalted human, or you say the son of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
how important is the preaching in the Acts of the Apostles to this exegesis that you are declaring? Like in Acts chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
Peter is speaking the first recorded
Mm-hmm.
message of
Mm-hmm.
Jesus that is being heard by thousands of Jews that have come to Jerusalem. How does Peter express this detail that you are explaining now?
Yes, Bro Tom, what you said now is very important. People need to know that, like, as what we call the law of first mention. The law of first mention.
The law is first mention.
Yes.
Okay.
Is very, very important.
Yes.
The first time the gospel was preached, after the death, resurrection, and the ascension of Jesus,
Yes.
was in the day of Pentecost
Yes.
in Jerusalem.
Yes.
It was done by Peter, who
Yes.
was like the chief apostle.
Yes.
So whatever he said then is of critical importance.
Okay.
Whatever he said about Jesus is of great importance to the church, to the believers.
So this would be like the foundation stone.
Foundation stone.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we need to ask, what did Peter say about Jesus? Forget about whatever happened in the Gospels. Forget about whatever happened. This is the first time this message was being preached.
Yes.
And to the Jews.
Yes.
What did he say? Who did he say Jesus is? Acts chapter 2, verse 22 tells us what he said. And like now, I tell people, the gospel, the beginning of the gospel is that Jesus is a man.
Can you repeat what Peter said in Acts chapter 2?
I will repeat that.
Please do.
I will repeat that. So Peter was preaching, and the first thing he said, men of Israel, hear these words. Jesus of Nazareth was a man approved by God.
Okay.
Among you by signs and miracles, which God did through him. You understand?
Yes.
So, if I don't know why, though I understand the workings of Satan in our minds, Satan blindfolds us. Satan veils the mind of people.
Yes.
But if not for that, looking at that scripture, that was the best place for Peter to have told us that Jesus is God.
Yes.
That's the place Peter will have told us that Jesus is an incarnation of God.
Right.
Instead of saying that, he tells us clearly, without ambiguity, without any apology, that Jesus of Nazareth was a man approved by God.
Yes. So it creates a very clear distinction between Jesus and his God.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he said that the miracles Jesus did, God did through him.
Yes.
He defined Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus of Nazareth.
Okay, so when you think of the description, Jesus of Nazareth, does that tell you the origin of Jesus? That Jesus was a man from Nazareth, not an incarnation that fell from heaven?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what he meant.
That's what he meant.
Jesus.
So that's how the Apostle Peter knew Jesus.
Jesus began from Nazareth.
Yes.
You understand?
Okay, yes.
And that is all.
Yes.
Now, I have a question.
Sure.
Does Peter expect his audience to have understood what he said to mean any other thing than what he said?
No.
If Peter expected them to see Jesus as an incarnation, he should have told them that there.
Right. Well, they would have no idea what an incarnation was.
Good.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You are presenting to these people, you want to tell them about Jesus, and you tell them that he is a man.
Okay, so let me try to pick your imagination. Peter is in the midst of thousands of Jews that have come on a Jewish holiday to Jerusalem, and they are coming from all over the world.
Yes.
So they would have had a common understanding of Jewish, what's the right word? Jewish culture.
And beliefs, yes.
Yes. So, and probably the most central thing that they would have in common is the Shema Israel, the prayer.
Yes.
That there is only one God,
yes,
and he is the creator of the universe.
Yes.
So when Peter expressed this message,
Mm-hmm.
he is speaking it into the context of what they already know to be true.
Mm-hmm.
What would have happened if Peter would have declared Jesus as a second God in the midst of these people who knew of a certainty that there was only one God? How would his message have been received?
That's what I'm supposed to ask.
That's what you're supposed to
Because
ask.
he will have been stoned.
He would have been stoned.
He will have been stoned.
Yes.
Like now, I did a teaching recently that Christianity is an extension of Judaism.
Yes.
If Jesus was a second person of a Trinity, they would have said that in Judaism. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judaism will have given a clear picture of God as a triune being.
hmm
You understand?
Yes.
So if it's the same God, if Christianity has the same, shares
If
the
it
same
has the same God, yes.
with Judaism,
Uh-huh.
they couldn't have been the ones creating or telling us how God really is.
Right. So
You understand what I'm saying?
Christianity should have sprung up from some other source.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would have been more appropriate for Christianity then to be a part of the Greco-Roman culture than
Exactly.
to originate with the Jewish
Exactly.
people.
Exactly. If it is the same God,
hmm
then whatever they're saying about God today should have been seen in Judaism.
Yes. hmm
You understand?
Yes.
So the concept of a three in one being is alien to
Yes.
Judaism.
Yes.
So it can't be the same God that the Jews
Yes.
Judaism worship.
And it would have been strange if Peter were to make such a declaration.
Exactly.
He would have had to make it some other place than Jerusalem.
Exactly.
So the fact that now you created the context here. This is the day of Pentecost.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great feast day, a Jewish holiday, and there's something very dramatic that happens at the day of Pentecost. What
Yes.
happened at the day of Pentecost that makes it so spectacular in the account of it?
Yes. You see, there are 7 Jewish feasts.
hmm
These Jewish feasts actually show us the calendar of God's program for mankind. Yes, they do. Now, the first one, the Jewish feasts begin with the Passover. Notice that it was fulfilled in the death of Christ. It was about the same day. Evidently, Jesus was killed in maybe around the afternoon of the day the Passover was to start in the evening, because the Jews begin their day in the evenings. So Jesus was killed in the day that the Passover was to begin at evening. So you see the feast of Passover, which is the beginning of the Jewish feast, the 14th day of the first month, the month of Abib, was fulfilled by Christ in his death about the same day when the Jews celebrated the feast.
Okay.
That's remarkable. Now, you have the feast of unleavened bread, then you have the feast of the first fruits. Jesus is the first fruits. It's the resurrection fulfills the feast of the first fruits.
Okay.
And it happened the same day
It did.
of when the feast was celebrated. Do you understand?
So the resurrection of Jesus occurred on the feast of the first fruits?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Now, the other one, the feast of Pentecost, was 50 days from the feast of first fruits.
Okay.
Jesus rose up and stayed with them for 40 days. Then, 10 days after his ascension, was the feast of Pentecost.
Okay.
The same day that the feast of Pentecost was held was the same day 3,000 people from different parts of the world were, converted.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Fulfilling the harvest, the global
Okay.
harvest.
So if I can just pause on that for a moment. So you have Jews coming from all over the world
Mm-hmm.
to Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
and God is presenting the gospel through the apostles of Jesus
Yes.
to really this group of people that will take this message
Down to the whole world.
to the whole world. So it's kind of a
Harvest.
okay, it's a harvest, and it's it just forms such a picture of God's intention,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is an incredible thing that
Mm-hmm.
a death of a man who would have been forgotten
Mm-hmm.
otherwise is now communicated by way of a resurrection of power,
Mm-hmm.
and the Spirit of God is coming upon these apostles in the
Mm-hmm.
form of some kind of cloven tongues of fire. I don't even
Mm-hmm.
know how
Yes.
that looks.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so they're speaking this word of power, which is now going to be taken out to the corners of the world.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And then you see, there's no coincidence in God. That was not a coincidence.
No.
It was a fulfillment of something,
Yes.
of a predetermined event. Let me use that word, event, by God. So you see, the day of Pentecost, in the day of Pentecost, the feast of Pentecost was fulfilled. You understand?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It was not a coincidence. There's no coincidence in God. And so the feast of Pentecost is so significant. There was a release of the Spirit of God
Okay.
upon this new creation.
Yes, it's the beginning of God's new creation
That's it.
through the man Jesus.
Through the man Jesus, yes.
So yeah, this is actually incredible detail. So what you seem to be saying is that the foundational message that Peter spoke at that time
Yes, yes,
is
yes.
the message that went out to the nations.
Nations, yes.
It's the foundation of new creation
Exactly.
through the resurrected man Jesus.
What did he preach? He preached that this Jesus, who was a human being like all of us, died by the predetermined counsel of God, but God raised him from the dead.
Yes.
That as a model of what he's going to do with everyone who believes in him.
Yes.
Very simple message.
Yeah, very, very simple. So the preaching of the forgiveness of sins
Through him.
through him is actually a free gift that God is offering the nations through this perfected human being, Jesus.
That's just it.
So is this message sufficient in its simplicity?
More than sufficient.
More than sufficient.
Yes, because within it is the answer to man's problem.
So, it just seems to me that God did something through the man Jesus that was so shocking and surprising that it challenges us in ways that nothing else could.
That is it. Nothing else could. And the simplicity is amazing.
So we are challenged to follow in the path of Jesus, the resurrected man.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the idea of resurrection is something that likely would have been very hard to conceive of before this event.
Yes. Now, can I comment on the resurrection?
Absolutely.
Yes. Protom. You see, the Gentiles, the Greeks, do not believe in the resurrection. They rather believe in the reincarnation.
And reincarnation.
Yes. The Jews believe in the resurrection. And only a mad person can believe in the resurrection.
Only a mad person?
It's madness to believe
It's
in the
madness.
resurrection.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
The Greeks because they have no answer to resurrection, to death. They talk about reincarnation. Like in my place, African traditional religion teaches reincarnation.
Do they actually believe reincarnation
They
happens?
believe in reincarnation till today. Now, I want to comment on this.
Okay, so if I can just, yeah, I'd like you to comment.
Mhm.
I wonder, does it have anything to do with ancestral worship or culture? Please comment on this.
Yes, like now, this what we're talking about is very important for you to know the true religion and to know the true God. You can't talk about the true religion without talking about resurrection. You can't know the true God without resurrection. It's all tied together. All these religions, the Greeks believe in reincarnation. Like African traditional religion believe strongly in reincarnation. That's why in my place we answer names. In Igbo land, we answer names like Nana. That is my grandfather. My father's father. Because we believe that when you give birth to a child, then you say this child is the reincarnation.
Is that right?
Yes, you go and see, consult oracles. They tell you what is happening. Your wife is pregnant with your grandfather.
Is that right?
Yes, your father is coming. Your mother is coming. We have them. This is not this thing, even till today.
Okay. So,
So you treat that child with much respect.
wow.
It's your child, but you'll be looking at him as if it's your mother that came back or your father that came back. So you'll be respecting him. And then the child will have features and behaviors like your father or like your mother or your grandfather that died. Do you know why? Now, Oriental religions like Ekankar, Grey Message, they teach, even Buddhism and such religions, they teach reincarnation. And they believe that you can come as a man, then in your next world, because you did not get certain things right, you can come back as an animal,
Yes.
can come back as a goat, as a punishment for the life you lived here now. You keep coming like that until you attain perfection. Yes, that is the belief of the Greeks, because they cannot imagine that a dead person can come back to life.
So, and do they refuse to accept that death is a final outcome?
Yes, because they believe that we're a spirit.
Yes.
So that when you die, you just put off this.
The spirit has to go somewhere.
Yes, you continue living somewhere.
Yes.
Hmm.
So that spirit can very likely enter another human body or a goat or
put on another human body.
huh.
Yes.
Okay. And so you distinguish this from the understanding of the Jewish biblical
Exactly.
account that when a person dies, they are asleep, they are unconscious, their life goes out from them.
Goes out from them.
Okay.
Until God and God alone restores that life.
Yes. So the concept of resurrection is it's a concept that is so powerful and so dependent upon the one true God of creation
That is it.
that nothing else can compare to it.
Nothing else.
Hmm.
So no other God can talk about resurrection.
No other God is capable.
It's no other God can talk about it because they are not capable.
They're not capable.
You understand?
So the thing that the the event that God exercised on Jesus was a demonstration of God's power that had never been seen before.
Never.
And it also validates God's existence. So we know that there is one God because that one God expressed his power on this incredible human being that completely subjected his will
To
to
him.
the will of that God.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
kind of a complete picture
Yes.
that identifies God, it identifies Jesus, and it
Mhm.
identifies the hope of humanity all at
That
the
is
same
it.
time.
All the same time, yes.
So it's like a trinity of hope,
That is it. A trinity of hope.
a trinity of hope.
Now, bro, Tom, this is very interesting. The issue of resurrection is very interesting. Do you know that the doctrine of resurrection is a fundamental Bible doctrine?
Of course.
That is what baptism represents.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
From the beginning, even from the Ark of Noah, which the Bible calls the flood, it's called a form of baptism. Through the doctrine of baptism, God shows to mankind that the righteous shall be saved from death through resurrection.
Yes.
That's what baptism is talking about.
So
The
baptism is a likeness. How would you describe the likeness of baptism to resurrection?
It is baptism is an expression of your faith and hope
Okay.
in the resurrection of the dead.
Okay. So by going through baptism, you are demonstrating that you believe
Exactly.
that what God did for Jesus, like
Yes.
as Jesus died and was
Yes.
resurrected,
Yes.
in the likeness of his death and resurrection, you are being baptized.
That is it. That's all about baptism.
And so you are verifying that, yes, I believe
Yes.
that God raised Jesus from the dead,
Mhm.
and what God did for Jesus,
He will do for
he will
me.
do for me.
That is it.
Okay.
That is it. That is the same thing as confessing.
Okay.
You understand? It's the
Yes.
same thing as confessing.
Well, it is a confession.
It's a confession.
Yeah. Only it's a confession
by
that is
action,
by action, by a
by
demonstration,
demonstration.
by
Yes.
completely being dunked in water and
Exactly.
rising again.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, that is the doctrine of baptism. It's been there from Noah.
From Noah's time.
What happened to Joseph when they were put into the pit? What happened to Jonah? You understand?
Yes.
What happened in the Red Sea?
Yes.
What happened at Jordan? This is demonstration. It's God speaking.
Okay.
I will raise the dead. You will survive death by resurrection. You will survive death by resurrection. Do you understand?
Yes. So there is water. The water of Jonah was surrounded by water. He could have died.
Now died.
The children of Israel walked through the Red Sea.
That is death.
That's death. They walked through, yeah. But
those who
there's
went, the Egyptians who followed them,
they died.
they died.
They died in that water.
Yes.
So actually God is showing us through these symbols of the Old Testament that the only way to life is to pass through death,
And
that God is going to keep you through death and bring you to life
if you're a believer.
if you're a believer. So God is separating those that have faith, that keep faith with him, from those that do not.
That is it.
So all these images are being presented in the Old Testament. And then in the New Testament, in the beginning of the New Testament, we see a man
Yes.
who dies, who is raised again.
Yes.
And baptism is the symbol of what has taken place.
Exactly.
So this brings our mind back into the Old Testament context.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what we call the God of Abraham.
Okay.
The God who calls things into existence
I see.
and gives life to the dead.
Okay. So it makes sense that God would create new creation. He would, that there would be like, he's creating new creation from death to life.
Yes. He's number one, he is the creator. He's the source of life,
Yes.
source of existence. And he can always create new things. Number two, he can give life to the dead. Only God, the true God, can give life to the dead.
Yes.
You understand? God in whom he believed even God who gives life to the dead
Yes.
and calls things into existence. So this is the God of Abraham. The God of Abraham is the God who restores life to the dead.
Yes.
No other God can claim that.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So presently, it's Judaism, Christianity, and Islam that preaches the resurrection from the dead. You understand?
Yes.
But Islam has been able to discredit themselves or itself from the true God because, number one, it has no proof. It has no proof that Allah can raise the dead. Number two, instead of joining Christianity and saying that Allah raised Jesus from the dead, it denies it.
Ah.
Do you understand?
So they actually have a underlying assumption that God can raise the dead,
Yes.
but they don't accept the proof that it actually happened.
Yes. And so they are without proof.
I see.
So you're saying your God can raise the dead. How can I be sure he can raise the dead?
Yes.
You must show me. Like Jesus, the Bible says, Acts chapter 17, verse 32, that God has given assurance to all men in that he raised this Jesus from the dead.
Okay. So Islam denies the fact that Jesus was raised from the dead.
Yes.
So that's the problem with Islam.
That's the problem with Islam.
So how much of a problem is it with Orthodox Christianity that want to make Jesus God? Like
Mm-hmm.
if Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
by and large, the
Mm-hmm.
general Christian population
Mm-hmm.
say that Jesus is God,
Mm-hmm.
then what does that mean for resurrection? Is it actually a denial of the resurrection
Thank you very much.
because they? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, that is the issue. That's why we say that the issue of the resurrection is the crux of the matter.
It's the crux of the matter.
We have been able to show that the only proof that a being can give that he is the source of life is his ability to restore life
Yes.
to dead beings.
Yes.
If you cannot restore life to dead beings, you are not the source of life.
Right.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes. So if you claim that you are the creator of the whole universe, can you restore life? Then you say, no, there will be reincarnation. You cannot prove reincarnation. How can I know that this dog is a reincarnation of somebody else? So reincarnation is anybody who teaches reincarnation, African traditional religion inclusive, does not have access to the true God.
Yes.
That is written
So
of.
so reincarnation would be more out of their desire to imagine that we don't actually die.
Exactly.
So they are, instead of examining what true hope is,
Mm-hmm.
they have a tendency to wish that their dead relative would come into a new form.
A new form.
So it's just out of the desire of the human
That's
heart.
denial of reality.
The denial of reality. Yes, yes.
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 You see, reincarnation is evasive. They try to dodge the reality.
Yes.
The real problem of man is death.
Yes.
This is the
And they're trying to escape the reality of it.
science has no answer to it. Humanity has no answer to it. So if your religion cannot give valid answer to death, it is useless.
Yes.
It's useless. Do you understand? So when you try to use reincarnation to explain as an answer to death, you're being evasive.
Yes.
I need to know that this person that I knew on earth is the one that came back to life.
Yes. So it's the importance of this cannot be overstated.
Cannot be overstated. Now, because that is the only thing that can give me assurance.
Yes.
And also tell me that the God I'm worshiping is the true God.
Yes.
So, like back to your question, Orthodox Christianity that teaches that Jesus is God that became a man does not understand the implication of what they are saying.
Yes.
It is worse than Islam and worse than African traditional religion. Why would God have to come as a man and die and rise again? He wants to give me assurance that he can raise me from the dead. Is it not so?
Yes.
So if he comes by himself and he raises himself from the dead,
Yeah.
has he given me assurance?
No.
He is deceiving me.
Yes.
He is very crafty.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
If he wants to assure me, I'm a human being.
Yes.
I'm not God.
Yes.
My only need is that I want to know how to live forever.
Yeah. You don't know. You cannot be convinced if God can raise himself.
Yes, now I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that as a human being,
Yes.
my problem is not God's problem. My problem is I want to be sure that I can live forever.
Yes.
And I see that I will die. So can you assure me that you will raise me back to life? Me, because I want to live forever. Can you assure me? You say, yes, you can assure me. So how can you assure me? You say, I'm coming by myself. I will come and die, and then I will rise again to assure me. It's illogical. You are God. So you can do anything for yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
You understand?
Yes.
You can do anything for yourself. So if you want to prove to me that you can raise me from the question is me. The issue here is me, a man, not God. If you want to prove to me, the only way you can prove to me that you can raise me from the dead and give me everlasting life is by raising a man like me, someone I saw, someone I ate with, that I know very well. If you can raise him from the dead right before me and give him eternal life, that's the only way I can be assured that you can do the same for me.
I think that's what was preached at the day of Pentecost.
That's it. That's it.
So it is sufficient, right?
Sufficient.
Yes. And you have a lifetime to explore what that means.
Exactly. That is why Jesus was raised from the dead, not after 1 year. Not after 1 year, after he had decayed, then somebody comes up and says, Jesus. No, he had to be raised back while the wounds were still there.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So everybody can say, this is the Jesus we know.
Yes.
This is him. He
Yes.
said, put your hand there. This
Yes.
is, they crucified me a few days ago.
Yes.
I am back to life. It's not an apparition.
Yes.
It's not a ghost.
Yes.
This is me.
Yes.
A spirit does not have flesh and bone as you see me have. Put your hand here. Put your hand here. They saw him. They handled. They ate with him.
Yes.
So it is the same Jesus that they knew that died.
Yes.
He was killed. Everybody saw how he was killed.
Yes. No question about that.
It's not that he died in the corner.
No.
He didn't die like Abraham or Isaac or Jacob or
Yes.
David.
Yes. Yes.
He was openly killed.
Yes.
In a particular way.
Yes.
This is not something that somebody said, I have died. No, he was killed. They watched him die.
Right.
Somebody pierced him.
Yes.
Blood and water came out, showing that life had gone.
Yes.
He was buried in a particular tomb, not a tomb that his disciples dug.
Yes.
They weren't even there. A popular man, provided his tomb.
Yes.
And they put him there.
Yes.
Then after some days, he reappeared. The same Jesus reappeared with all the marks. And he stayed with them for 40 days. He was seen by over 500 brother human beings at a go. They saw him. These people were not in doubt. You understand? So this is verifiable. It was clear to everybody.
Yes.
You couldn't deny it.
Yes.
You can only say, something happened. They carried his body or something. But you couldn't deny that it was the same Jesus that you killed that is living.
Yes.
So God has proven to everybody beyond every reasonable doubt that number one, he is the true God. Because, let me put it this way, Yahweh has proven to every human being that he is the true God because he was able to restore life to a human being. Number two, it was a human being like us, not God incarnate, not an angel like Jehovah's Witnesses teach, but a human being, a real human being that died, was killed. He didn't die by himself, he was killed. God raised him back to life.
Yes.
This is verifiable. This is real. It's on record. And it's alive forevermore.
Yes.
So all of us can be sure of the God we are worshiping, Yahweh, and we can be sure that Jesus is a man like us. And then we can be sure that this is what God did for him, he can do for us if we believe in him and follow him.
So the God of Israel is the only true God.
Only through God.
And Jesus
Only through God.
And Jesus is the only true Messiah, the anointed one of God.
The anointed one of God, the Messiah.
Yes.
And the second man.
And the second man.
Yes.
So in your mind, the term Messiah is a big deal.
Yes, of course. That is it. The Messiah of God.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's
Jesus Christ.
It's a place that is only held by one.
By one.
Okay.
And it's not God. God cannot be the Messiah of himself.
Yes. God cannot anoint himself.
Cannot anoint himself.
Okay.
And God cannot be anointed.
Okay. So this has been a very, very interesting and informative interview. We've covered a lot of ground. And you have expressed a hope and a desire that this gospel message would fill the earth. Is it your hope and prayer that there'll be some kind of a revival or a new chapter? Is it possible, actually, for there to be I don't even know what to say, like
a wave of this knowledge.
A wave, a recovery of first century Christianity, a united brotherhood under Messiah Christ by the will of God? Is this actually a possibility in this world today?
Yes, that is what we are praying for. And by the way, I want to say this. I realize that it takes God time to get one person to understand this truth. But when he gets one person, it becomes the person's responsibility to start praying for others. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because you don't pray for what you don't know. Do you understand?
Yes.
Like presently, like I said, I believe it's part of what God would want me to emphasize. Now I'm praying for people. I'm praying for people. One of the prayers I pray for people is for them to have this understanding that Jesus is a man. Jesus is a man. You understand?
Yes.
No matter how committed they are in their church, no matter how much who they are in their church, I pray for them. So I believe that as I continue praying, I've been able to see about 15 pastors, leaders of churches, 20 pastors, leaders of churches coming to this understanding.
Wow.
Yes.
In your area?
In my area, through me.
Wow.
Through me. Do you understand?
Okay. Through a little pitsy church in some corner of Abuja.
Yes. From a little, very little distance.
Okay.
And now, so as I keep praying, these people are also praying.
Okay.
These people are also praying. Do you understand?
Yes.
And as they continue praying, I know more and more people are coming in. Some people are even very, very zealous about it. They are more zealous about it than myself.
Wow.
Yes. So the whole thing is going on. The whole thing is
snowballing.
The whole thing, yes, snowballing, yes. So I believe beyond me, because I'm not the first person, and it doesn't have to be through me, but somebody somewhere will make it, will explode with this knowledge.
So do you think God looks beyond you?
Oh, much more than that. Much more than that.
There's a song by that name.
Huh?
There's
Yes,
a
a
song by
song.
the name,
Okay, okay,
You
okay.
Look Beyond Me.
You look beyond me. Yes, by Yada.
Yes,
Yes, you do
yes,
beyond me. Oh,
yes.
yes.
So you believe that? You think God is looking beyond you? You were just a small cog in the.
I'm not even anything.
Uh-huh.
Maybe like a grain of sand in the universe of God. Do you understand?
Yes.
Whatever God is doing in my life, I'm sure He's doing with another more than 7,000 knees somewhere that I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
He's only going to be bringing me in touch with them, like bro Tom. You know, I never knew him, but God is connecting us with
God
people.
brought you here
Yes,
to my house.
yes, and it was not from me that you got to know the truth.
No.
You already know the truth. You understand? So what He's doing is we are teaming up. So other people are being touched. Things are happening. A time will come when it will explode. This truth will be recovered.
Okay. Yeah,
Not by me.
I believe so. No.
Not by me.
No.
Not
By God's design.
By God's design.
Is the propagation of this truth necessary to precipitate the return of Jesus?
Certainly. From Ephesians chapter 4.
Okay.
Verse 13.
So actually, this gives us good cause to promote the truth because we want Jesus to come back.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Because it says, until we all come in the unity of the faith.
Yes.
And the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ.
Yes.
Until we all come in the unity of the faith and knowledge. Unity. We have not had the unity of knowledge about who Christ is. There's the unity of the knowledge of the Son of God.
Yes.
We must come to see Him as a man.
So to know.
That's when our faith, because right now, what people call faith is not faith. How can you say you have faith in God rising from the dead? It's not faith.
No, right.
That's
Right.
not faith.
Yeah.
That's not faith.
If God died, if it were possible to kill God,
Yes,
you would expect Him to rise from the dead.
If it's
Right,
God,
right,
if it's God,
right. Yeah.
if it's God,
Right.
so that's not faith.
No.
And that doesn't give you hope.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap this interview up.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yes. My closing thought is that anybody listening to us now, I've told you my story.
Yes.
Yes, my background and how I came into all these things. I want you to know that God is also working in your life, whoever you are, whoever you may be.
Look to the camera when you say
Yes, God is working in your life. I'm sure that God is working in your life. If you look back at your life, you see that God has been busy working in your life. And He's going to bring you into the center of His will. What we're communicating here, you are going to come to the knowledge of the truth by the working of God. And if what we said here is making you to desire to know more, we want to welcome you. You can contact Bro Tom, and then we can start sharing these things with you. We love you, and God loves you more. Thank you, and bye for now.
God bless you. God bless you.